Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Wake Up Wednesdays. So, wake up. How's your week going? If your week so far isn't going according to the plan that you set out on the previous Friday, that's okay. These things happen. Just roll with it. That's why we're here for Wake Up Wednesdays to wake each other up, to reinvigorate ourselves, and so that we can get back on plan. Today, I want to talk to you guys about a article I posted in the group chat on the difference between the art of influence and the dark art of manipulation. And the art of influence and the dark art of manipulation for the sci-fi fans in here, and I'm a huge sci-fi fan, I love sci-fi, is kind of like being a master Jedi Knight in the art of influence, like a Yoda, versus like a Sith Lord, a Count Dooku, or like a Darth Vader, and that is manipulation. And you'll know the difference between the two for two primary factors. The first factor is after you sit down with someone or after you walk away from a meeting, even if it's a virtual meeting, if you get a bad feeling in your gut, if you get a bad feeling inside about that person, about what you just talked about, or about that meeting, and you've done everything that you can do, and you come from a place of how can I help? How can I be of more assistance? How can I serve? And you've done everything you can do, and you still feel like something's not right. It's because you're in an environment where someone directly or the group that you're working within, there's manipulation happening, whether that's directly to you or addressing the group in general, if you get that bad feeling inside. The other way you can tell is you can ask yourself, is what's being asked of me, is what's happening in this group for the greater good? Does this help all of us grow in the program to deliver a project, to launch the business, to increase revenue, whatever our goals are? If it's for the greater good, then it's probably influence. And the keys are understanding the difference, building trust, communicating effectively, leading by example, empowering others. These are the five keys. So, understanding the difference is that motivating others is by helping them be the best version of them that they can be. And when you're influencing others and you're motivating others, you want to see the best for them. You have agreed and shared outcomes that you want to work towards. When you're manipulating them or when you're being manipulated, it is to serve one person's good and one person's good only. And what that might look like is if, for example, Sally's on the team and Sally always shows up early and always stays late, and Sally's always on time, and Sally's always prepared. And Sally has a lot going on in her personal life, like we all do, but she always shows up at work, in person or in virtual meeting, and she always has a smile on her face, and she always has a positive attitude. And she's the expert in her space, and she always does her homework, and she knows the details, and her presentations are sharp. And even when people take passive aggressive shots at her in group meetings, she always finds a way to turn it around and be positive. And that's Sally. That's the persona of Sally. Manipulation looks like this. You and I are in a meeting and we're talking about something that pertains to the project that Sally's working on, the program that Sally's working on, the product she's trying to roll out. And I say to you, yeah, don't you think Sally's a little intense? Did you see how she answered that question in the meeting? Isn't it annoying how she's always waiting there for us before the meeting? What does she think? She's like Little Miss Wonderful? What is she trying to do? Make us look bad? Now, if you don't know what I'm doing, you might then look at Sally and say, huh, what is she trying to do? Is she trying to make us look bad? What's her objective? What's her outcome? And you might start to view her in a negative way. What influence looks like is me and you are in my office or we're in a virtual meeting and we're talking. And I say, hey, did you notice Sally in the meeting today? Boy, oh boy, she just does such a great job. She always shows up that way. I just love how she shows up. She's always present. She always gives it her all. You know, she has a lot going on in her personal life, but she always shows up. She's positive. She goes above and beyond. You know, I bet you that if we worked with Sally a little closer, I bet it would help to make us better. I bet that if we partnered with Sally on this product rollout, we would start showing up differently. We would start looking at things differently. And I think that if we work with Sally, she can rub off on us in a good way. That's the difference between manipulation and influence. Now, that's one example. In the example of manipulation, I'm trying to take Sally's good efforts and actually turn them against her because of my own fear. My fear that if people in the project, if people in the program, if people in my business see all of the good effort that Sally's doing, that might mean more work for me. And maybe I'm afraid I can't work at the level she can, or maybe I'm disengaged at some level and I don't want to put that effort in. So manipulation comes from a place of fear to actually twist good things and make someone look bad or make a situation look bad. That's actually not bad at all. Influence, on the other hand, says, wow, look at Sally. She does such a good job. She goes above and beyond. How can we work with her? How can we partner with her? How can we be more aligned with doing that? The reason why that's influence is because I'm not telling you directly, hey, you need to get your act together and be more like Sally. She's always on time. She's always prepared. She's always detailed. She's always sharp. She always has a smile on her face. Be more like Sally. No, what I'm saying is we could all do better if we embraced that kind of attitude, that kind of approach towards what we're working on. And how could we partner with her so that we can rub off on one another? Because I think that that approach will help us all. So that is what it looks like. And knowing the difference between the dark art of manipulation, like a Sith Lord, and the beautiful art of influence, like a Jedi Master looks like. That's understanding the difference. The second step is building trust. And the way we build trust is by influence, by being honest, by being transparent, by being reliable, by showing empathy. And when we build trust, when we show empathy, and we lead by example, that is one of the ways we can move towards influence and not manipulation. The next step is, or the next tip is clear, concise, and effective communication. So if I want to influence you, I need to clearly and effectively communicate with you. Another tip here, another little bonus is if I want to influence you, not manipulate you, I need to trust you and I need to allow you to be able to communicate effectively to me. In its simplest form, if I want to influence you, I need to trust you and communicate with you so that I allow you to influence me. And if I allow you to influence me because we trust each other, because we communicate clearly, then if you're influencing me, then the probability that you'll allow me to influence you is much, much higher. And once again, it's not a trick. It's not to manipulate someone. It's to influence based on trust and clear communication. The fourth tip is doing both of those things and leading by example. So if you and I are in my office or we're in a virtual meeting, and I tell you that, hey, we want to be more influential in this department. This program needs to influence and lead others. When we roll this product out, we want to influence the market, yada, yada, yada. But if you look at what I do and I try and manipulate people to shape the outcomes to my will, and you're watching me, you're going to say, well, Mark talks a good game about influence, the art of influence, being a Jedi master, but he's more like a Sith Lord because he's very good at manipulating people. So you want to lead by example. And unfortunately, the best influencers are also people that are very good at manipulation because they know how to do both. But the good influencers are those that choose the path of the Jedi, that choose the path to be influential in order to help one another for the greater good and not have short-term manipulation. Manipulation is short-term and needs constant energy fed into the person or into the group to manipulate them towards your outcomes. Influences, you and I could have worked together 5 years ago. And because you know the difference, because we trust each other, because we communicate with each other, we influence each other, and because I've led by example, what you do today, 5 years later, even if we haven't worked together for 4 years, might still be based on that influence I had with you, based on how I led by example. And you say, you know, Mark was a real example for me. He was always early. He was always on time. He always had a positive attitude. He always did his research. He always would step out in front and lead by example. And I want to be like that. I want to do that. I want to lead my program that way, lead my team that way. There's no benefit in it for me. We haven't spoken in 4 years, but that's the difference between influence, which is long-term building of bridges, and short-term manipulation. The last tip is to empower others. And once again, empowering you versus trying to control you. So what this might look like is, hey, John, thank you for taking some time to come into my office and talk to me today. Or thank you for taking some time to meet with me virtually today. You know, I noticed in that design meeting where we were, you know, redesigning the product, I noticed you had a lot of great ideas and you had a lot of great suggestions. And that little proposal you put together in that one-page summary was really good. It was great that you had it all spelled out on one page. You know what though, John? You don't know our stakeholders like I know them. You don't know our clients like I know them. You don't know the executive leadership team like I know them. I know you're trying to help. But going forward, all of those great ideas you had, make sure you send them to me first. Don't send them to anybody else. You know, there's some people on the team, they kind of talk about you, and you know, I don't really like it, but it's them, it's not me. And you know, they talk at the water cooler and behind backs, and so, you know, don't share your ideas in public. You know, bring them to me first, and I'll circulate your ideas to make sure that your good ideas get circulated and we can do these things. Is that okay with you, John? You know, I'm looking out for your best interest here. This is an example of manipulation, once again, which is rooted in fear, which is disempowering. Uh, the last tip, which is empowering others, what influence would look like is, hey, John, thank you for taking the time to meet with me in person. Hey, John, thank you for meeting with me virtually. I got to tell you, outstanding job in that design meeting today. You went above and beyond. You took the bull by the horns. All of your designs, all of your ideas, the prototype you went and built on your own, the one-page summary you went and built on your own, the client's feedback you've incorporated on your own. You were doing such an amazing job. I loved how you use all the tools at your disposal. What else can I give you so you can continue to do that? What other resources do I have that you don't have access to right now that I can give you that you can continue to do that job? Honestly, you're making my job so much easier because you're killing it. You're doing such a great job. This is influence. How is this influence and not just good feedback? The reason why it's influence and not good feedback is because the last tip is empowerment. It's me saying, John, you're using your intuition, you're using your emotional intelligence with your intelligence on what you know on the product, on what you know of the project, on what you know in the business to work with the clients and stakeholders and make it better. And no one needed to ask you, and no one needed to tell you, and you did it on your own. And if you continue to do it on your own, you'll grow and you'll get better, not only to deliver a better product, not only to make the program run smoother, to make the business more profitable, but you'll grow as a person, you'll grow as a professional. And what I'm coming to you and saying is, right now you have access to almost everything that I have. What else can I give you? How else can I support you? You're doing a great job because I want to build you up. So in 5 years from now, it makes you better, whether I'm there or not. And this is influence, not manipulation. So in summary, it's the difference between the dark art of being a Sith Lord versus the art of influence and being a Jedi Master. It's building trust, it's communicating effectively, it's leading by example, it's empowering others, it's to build a positive, long lasting relationship based on trust, mutual benefits for the overall outcome and good of everyone, and not just to benefit a particular person, not just to benefit me, not just to benefit you. And that is the difference between manipulation and influence. And as leaders, it's very important that we continue to build on our influence skills. And the best way we can build our influence skills is by getting to the root of why we find ourselves manipulating others, why we find ourselves trying to control the outcomes. And what we'll find is that it's deep rooted in our inner fears. And once we work on those, we'll stop trying to manipulate, we'll stop trying to control the outcomes, and instead we'll try and build each other up for the good of the program, for the good of the project, for the good of the business. Okay, guys. I love the opportunity to share and collaborate with you on these Wake Up Wednesdays. So wake up. If the beginning of the week didn't go according to plan, that's okay. You still have all of today and the rest of the week to deliver those outcomes you want to deliver for this week. And now I hope that you could have a better understanding of the difference between influence and manipulation. I hope you guys go out there and be better influencers and you lead by example and you build trust. Have a great day and let's please continue to stay engaged. Thank you so much. Bye.